Hi, I'm Blake Kiger, a Cabarrus County Commissioner with Out and About. And today we're in Harrisburg at Faith Coffee and Sweets. Today we're with Captain Will Cannon, a shift supervisor with Cabarrus County EMS. Hi, Will.
Good morning, sir.
I wanted to ask you, tell me a little bit about Hearts and Heroes.
Yes, sir. So this will be our 4th annual event. Hearts and Heroes is a celebration of life, where we reunite all of the survivors of out-of-hospital cardiac arrest from the previous year with everyone involved in their care. And we provide the patients the opportunity, the survivors, I should say, the opportunity to meet with everyone in their care and to speak a little bit to the crowd and tell them what the survival has meant to them and how it's changed their life.
So when you talk about survivors, what's the survival rate on when something of this magnitude happens?
So nationally, survival from out-of-hospital cardiac arrest is around 1 to 5%. It's very low. Here in Cabarrus County, our numbers are significantly higher. And the reason for that is because of the quality of patient care that Cabarrus County EMS is able to provide in association with our first responder agencies, our telecommunicators, the relationship that we have with Northeast Medical Center and CHS. So really, for a patient to survive an out-of-hospital cardiac arrest, they really have to have support from the entire gamut of the first responder community as well as that of the in-hospital community.
When you say out-of-hospital cardiac arrest, expand on that a little bit. What exactly does that mean?
So a sudden cardiac arrest refers to any time in which a patient loses a pulse, loses consciousness, and is no longer breathing. For the clinical definition, they have died. Cabarrus EMS, in association with all of our first responder agencies, work to try to resuscitate that patient, hopefully gain a pulse back, and transport them to the hospital for definitive care.
And tell me, expand a little bit more on why you think Cabarrus County has been so successful in having a higher survival rate than nationally?
It's the quality of the entire system. For example, 2 of our survivors this year that will be recognized were literally saved by the CPR and defibrillation that was provided by in one case, a Concord police officer, in another case, a Kannapolis police officer in association with the coaching staff at the child's school. In Cabarrus County, we try to teach between 2,000 and 2,500 persons a year in bystander CPR, layperson CPR, so getting hands on the chest and them understanding to be able to recognize a cardiac arrest and provide immediate care. So between that and the quality of the EMS services that we're capable of providing here in Cabarrus County due to the support of our citizens and our county commissioners, in association with the outstanding relationships we have with all of our first responder agencies, volunteer and paid fire departments, the entirety of the system works together to provide the citizens and visitors of Cabarrus County with the highest quality pre-hospital and in-hospital emergency care.
Well, that's fantastic. You guys are doing obviously a tremendous job. And so you have an event, Hearts and Heroes, coming up. When is it and where is it and who's involved?
So on the 16th of February at Hamrick Theater at CHS Northeast, we're going to be hosting the event. It starts at 5:30 and invited are all of the survivors of cardiac arrest from 2016 as well as their friends and family. In addition, all of the first responder personnel as well as hospital personnel that were involved in any of those cases throughout the year. Everyone's invited there, and we have an awesome opportunity for fellowship and to meet each other and to talk and to laugh and for them to tell some stories. And oftentimes, it's so important for the people who work in our field to see the fruits of their labors, essentially. To be able to see the good stories and the positive impact that we can have on the community. And then it's very therapeutic for the survivors to be able to shake hands with and thank the people involved. Talk to the telecommunicator who spoke with their wife and walked her through CPR on her husband, for example. So it's kind of a way for them to get some closure on the event as well as to look forward to the future with optimism.
And I would imagine that it does wonders for the morale of your department to be able to interact with survivors and people that they have helped. So I'm sure that's as a byproduct of the event that the morale in your department takes a nice little boost.
Absolutely. It means a lot to us to get to see the positive and good outcomes that we're able to achieve.
Yeah, well that's fantastic. So tell me, what does being a captain and being a supervisor, What does the event specifically mean to you personally?
Specifically to me, one of my additional duties as a supervisor is the cardiac arrest program coordinator. So it's kind of something that in 2011 we started a grassroots effort to improve our cardiac arrest survival numbers. So to have spent the past 6 years, 7 years working within our committees and within our agency to improve cardiac arrest survivorship, and to now see it working, and every year to be increasing our number of survivors and to be increasing the percentages in which we're able to accomplish our goals, is very, very satisfying.
Thank you very much for your time and your information, and we look forward to the Hearts and Heroes events. I hope that a lot of the citizens in Cabarrus County will come out to the event. And coming up, we're going to hear from a gentleman that was a survivor. And now we're joined by Mr. Tim German, an out-of-hospital cardiac event survivor. Welcome.
Thank you, Blake.
Tell me a little bit about what happened to you and your experience.
Well, it was a typical Sunday morning. We were leaving on the way to church. We were out on Popular Tent, and I told my wife, I said, I'm really dizzy. And the last thing I remember is she says, you need to stop driving. We were about a half a mile from getting on Interstate 85. And from there, I'd had a massive heart attack. In fact, I understand from the Kannapolis EMS, or Cabarrus EMS, they had to shock me 6 times in order for me to survive. So from there, we found that my main artery, which is the widowmaker, they call it, was 100% blocked. And I'm told less than 5% people survive. They had to put a stent in as large as my small finger and had to put me on ice or the cool down period to protect my brain. And I was in a coma or on the ventilator for 8 days. And those 8 days, I knew nothing. That's the tough thing about this, is that I think my wife went through a whole lot more than I did, wondering because the doctors had given me up. In fact, they said they lost me 3 times during all this, and I was able to be brought back. And so after 8 days of being on the ventilator, I came out and we found out that I had a stroke during that time because of a reaction to some of the medication they had me on my right side. I couldn't hold anything with my hand. My speech was blurred. I couldn't swallow those things. And so I had to recover from that. And then they put in a pacemaker. So all this happened in a period of about 13 days. I just cannot thank all the ones who were so supportive, starting with, the Cabarrus County EMS, the fire departments of Salisbury and Kannapolis, my wife, who said, hey, stop. It's probably the first time in my life I've listened to her the first time. And then just all the doctors, and I was in ICU and AICU and all these, and so many nurses, and they followed up even after I'd gone home to make sure I was doing well.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, you were correct when you said that statistically speaking, you had less than a 5% chance of survival. So give me your thoughts and perspective on having a second chance.
Well, it's amazing. In fact, when I went back to see my heart doctor, and what makes it even more amazing, I went back to see him in December, which was only 4.5 months after it happened. And he says, you're doing so well, you don't need to come back for a year. And he says, in fact, he said, you should have, if you believe in tattoos, you need to get you a tattoo that has an M on it on your chest as a miracle. And I laughed about that, but it is a miracle. My whole perspective on life is different in the fact that I don't need to worry about yesterday, things I can't do or can't control, and just try and do all I can do. And things like this, sharing with the community how great our first responders are, how great they work together and what they do, and I'm just excited to be able to tell my story.
Well, you're exactly right that the community as a whole does a tremendous job, and we're certainly thankful of how your situation worked out, and we look forward to seeing you at the Hearts and Heroes event in February. It's been a pleasure to meet you. Well, thank you very much for joining us on this episode of Out and About from Faith Coffee and Sweets in Harrisburg, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
If you have suggestions for topics or location that you would like to see on Out and About, please contact us. Our email address is outandabout@cabarruscounty.us.